We got the week 4 recap during week 4. I figured first I'm going on vacation tomorrow, but also I saw the games are basically over, which is awesome because that means that we could talk about it while I also live react in case something crazy happens. Might also be bad. It might also not be entertaining as I look back every other play. No one asked for 2 Monday Night Football games. We don't need it. But there is a game that's still 89 to 11% Crucifier over Untouchable. So we'll save that for last. And then we'll monitor. Actually, no. The opposite. Let's monitor. Let's see what we need to monitor just in case. So Untouchable is up to 12% now. Because Untouchables has... Who was it? It was Tony Pollard. So we will keep an eye out if Tony Pollard goes ballistic. Absolutely insanely ballistic. Second half is going to be required from Tony Pollard. My prediction is that's not going to happen, and 11% feels way too high for that. They think there's 11% chance that Tony Pollard's going to get, wow, Sleeper is whack with this, 27 points in 28 minutes Tony Pollard needs. They think 11%. Give me those odds the other way. I'll bet $1 million to win, you know what I'm saying, $1 million to win 100,000 on him not doing that. I'll make that bet right now. Make the bet right now. Lock it in. Even more than 100,000. Anyway, okay. Let's talk about the games. If you're curious about my league, top scorer back-to-back weeks. Top scorer back-to-back weeks. But if Gibbs gets hurt, then I'm going to cry, even though I have the deepest running back group in fantasy history. But no, enough about me. Enough about me. All right, let's talk about El Grenas giving Chef Cesario his first loss. And this might be the finals preview because these two teams are very much legit. El Grenas has Gibbs, but he has many other players. The other concern with this team is Jonathan Taylor is on this team. Hopefully for him, Jonathan Taylor stays healthy, and I expect that he will. But obviously something to monitor. This is a team that really didn't have too many holes. The only questionable start was wide receiver 3. You got to go with Wandale. Well, JSN and Wandale, both, I guess, not the best starts. But Wandale, another good week. And now Xavier Worthy with Rashee Rice's injury is going to emerge as an incredible player. And then, of course, Cooper Kupp is going to come back eventually as well. Barrios almost took it to the house. And that makes your team fantastic. So El Grenas is a very much legit team that I'm expecting to see continue to be successful. Again, we talked about preseason, what did we expect? These are two teams that were part of the 4 teams we gave A's to. These 2 teams I still give A's to. A minus to both these teams. Chef Cesario obviously on the losing end of this effort. And this is the team that's very similar to mine also. You know, Dak and Saquon. And both did not have amazing weeks. You know, the game script obviously not amazing for Saquon. But coaching comes under fire for it. I think that's never going to happen again. I think Saquon's going to always be getting 20 touches per game. Not concerned with him. Also, not so much concerned with Kenneth Walker. Wide receiver is very interesting this week because you played Deebo Samuel despite coming off the injury. I actually benched him personally. He did have a decent week, 10.2. It depends who you have on the bench. For you, you know, with A.J. Brown being injured, who are you going to turn to? Not many great options. Juwan Jennings would have been a bit of a stretch also. I had both of them as well, as we spoke about last week. So, it can't really be hard on you. Also, Zay Flowers can't be hard on you because I like Zay Flowers. But Zay Flowers with a horrible week. Just absolute disaster. All right, is it Monty or that looks like, no, it's Gibbs. Dump it off. Gibbs is open. PPR. Let's go. Oh, flag. I could have used that 0.6. No, so I'm really not concerned with this team at all. Both these teams really could be finals preview. I'm very certain of that. On the flip side, another matchup where both teams end up being the same. Oh, penalty declined. Why would they decline a holding? They gained yards on that. Oh, 55 seconds left. No, that's weird. Anyway, okay, so, because then they could have ran it out. Yeah, they want the ball back. Okay. So, both these teams also end up with the same record. It's Electric and Pain Train both going to 2-2. Both going to 2-2. Electric, I said I'm going to root against him the rest of the season because his effort wasn't there that week. He played someone that he shouldn't have played, that wasn't playing. So, good to see Pain Train get the win. Obviously, Pain Train, a vet in this league. And this was a hard-fought, well-earned win. Pain Train puts up about 150 points. Jaden Daniels ends up being the best value pickup that you could have gotten out of any player, really. And then Derrick Henry ends up being probably the best draft pick in the entire draft. Go back to Gibbs. Oh my gosh, horse collar. Ooh, no. Okay, I'm done with that. Sorry. And yeah, paint trade. I mean, if you get Jaden Daniels and Derrick Henry, this is a good manager. You know, you don't even need to look at the rest of the team. This is a good manager. Obviously, you had some bad luck with your wide receivers, but Tyreek will be getting Tua back. T. Higgins, I don't know if you were watching the game, but he looks good. He's getting open. He's getting targeted. The opportunities are going to go up. And Malik Neighbors is also one of the best value picks in the draft as well. This is a really well-picked team. I'm obviously concerned, you know, Watson in the flex wasn't a great start, and, you know, your bench isn't good necessarily. But if you could figure that depth piece out, you get that one or two guys that fill this team out, this could be a very legit team with Pain Train now to going to 2-2. Electric, what can you say? Breece Hall had a horrible game, but so did the Jets. Are you going to be concerned with him? Are you going to be concerned with James Cook? No, I'm not going to be wavering every week as if, you know, as if one week I'm like, you have the best running back group. I'm like, oh, you don't have a good running back group just because they don't do well. This is still one of the best running back groups in the league, and I'm not concerned with that. Also, Amari Cooper, he had an off week, but trade target to KC potentially. Even in Cleveland, I still like him. I think Drake London also decent. It's a very average wide receiver group. But ultimately with this team, I do think you're really missing the absence of Joe Mixon in the flex, because having to go 4 receivers with the receivers you have, like D-Hop's playing right now, you have him on your team, really not promising. I hope for you, you know, Javonte got 16 carries, 77 yards. He had his best week of the season. I also hope for you that works out, because this team could use that depth, but both these teams 2-2 probably deserve to be 2-2, but Pain Train, both these teams could easily make runs, and Pain Train I think certainly can/will make a run, because he has some absolute studs on his team. Okay, another game that's basically over. Dust in the Wind is up 32. So unless Tyler Lockett goes stupid off, you should be good. So Dust in the Wind puts up 155 points. Remarkable effort. Baker has a gigantic game. Zach Moss a surprise good game. Hubbard's been really great. Deontay's been really strong. McLaurin, another good week. Everyone really delivering for you, but it's just a bunch of guys that are delivering that I just don't have faith in long term. So whereas I was just hyping up 2-2 teams as saying I think that they can make runs, I don't think this is one of the 2-2 teams that will make a run personally. You know, obviously I was lower on this team coming into the season. I said B-, so 2-2 makes sense. I just do not see it sticking. I really just do not see it sticking. And I have to hold that. I have to hold that perspective. I mean, maybe an opportunity for this team is trade one of your tight ends. A rare situation where you have 2 good tight ends. But that could be a potential area for opportunity. But it's just a very mid team. It's just a very mid team, Dust in the Wind. We went with Jared, also goes to 2-2 now. Obviously, when we went with Jared's a little bit different. You know, I came into the season ranking it last, but he had a strong start. And, you know, fool's gold sometimes. Devin Singletary, again, he's going to get the volume, but he's not a great option. Lockett is not a good option. Too many options. It'd be funny if he got a touchdown while I'm talking. That'd be so funny. Wow. If like I wasn't looking and then like Tyler Lockett, not a good option. It's like Lockett for 80 yards. And obviously Kelsey's had a letdown season. I will say with this team, Jacoby Myers, if Devontae doesn't come back, then Jacoby Myers could end up actually being a pretty solid starting guy. And you already have some studs on this team. Like Justin Jefferson's really good this year. Jones is very solid this year. Josh Allen's going to be amazing. He had an off week. I'm not concerned. Brian Robinson ended up being great. With Rashee Rice getting hurt, he took a lot of those short routes like Kelsey did. I mean, if you watch that team, the catches Rashee Rice is making really reminds you of the routes Kelsey would be dominating last year. So I think Kelsey's going to be great without Rashee Rice, much better. And you're a deeper team. You know, Devontae will come back. Does he get traded? If he does, it's great for your Jacoby Myers and then probably Devontae Adams value. And then Stevenson also could have better weeks. I think it was a smart bench this week. So obviously I came into the season low. I'm lower still on Dust in the Wind than we went with Jared, but they both go to 2-2 at this moment in time. El Professor, another game where both teams go to 2-2. There's going to be a lot of 2-2 teams. El Professor gets the win, a very strong week. Joe Burrow gets a solid week. Mason, my guy, I love him so much. Jordan Mason gets him 30 points. CeeDee Lamb 24 points. So your studs were studs, and that's great. Brian Thomas gave you a surprising good week. I will say, Achane without Tua is really surprisingly tough. You know, he's doing absolutely nothing. So hopefully for you, Tua comes back, and if Achane ends up being that guy, then I do think this El Professor team could be solid. But again, You are advertising another league. It's hard for me to root for this team right now until you have full loyalty in this league. But no, it's a solid team. That Mason pickup for you was absolutely gigantic. Banditos falls to 2-2. Banditos was a team coming into the season that I was higher on. They were 5th in my ranking. So 2-2 makes sense, right in the middle there. But it's a team that I still said 5th because I think there's upside here, and you're seeing that. I mean, Monty and Amonra are going to be great for you rest of the season for the Lions. Game script might not give Amonra a great second half here, but either way, I think he's great. Lamar Jackson, you're seeing how great he could be. I think Josh Jacobs with Jordan Love fully healthy will be much better. Olave's getting better every week. Diggs is playing well. I mean, every player I'm pretty high on here. When you get to the depth area, obviously, I don't love your depth necessarily. You know, I mean, I don't love Najee. You know, none of your bench options are guys that I would necessarily die in a hill for. But if you could figure that piece out, similar to the team we were just talking about, it's another very solid team. There's a lot of 2-2 teams. Some I'm higher on. This is, again, one of the 2-2 teams I am higher on. But now to the game that is still up in the air. And that is now 90-10. It doesn't look like Tony Pollard. Oh, can he return it all the way? No. This game's going to be over. So Crucifier is going to go to 2-2. Untouchables is going to fall to 0-4. And the question everyone asks is Untouchables getting the done chain? My answer for you, and this is a team I ranked near the bottom. I ranked 8th in my preseason power rankings, but my answer to you is I cannot done chain yet because I think Kyler has better weeks than him. Kyron is proving to be fantastic. Dobbins is still getting the volume. Mike Evans, a great week. Mooney, surprisingly good in that offense. And then Shakir, he's getting opportunities. He should have gotten in there. He was like a yard away from getting a touchdown and having a very strong week. So how can you really say this team that's not on the same level as the team we were just talking about? I mean, especially when you get Devontae Smith back, you get Jalen Waddle back with Tua. I'm not done chaining Untouchables. Everyone wants me to. I'm getting tweets about, oh my gosh. Oh, they face masked. Oh, it was offense. Everyone's asking me, can you please done chain Untouchable? I'm not going to do it. Crucifier, on the other hand, goes to 2-2. A gigantic win. I said this is a team that needs an RB because everything else is really sorted out. Listen, Etienne had a bad week. Connor had a very strong week. And you lose Rashee Rice. And that's where the concern is. Because now your team that was pretty deep at wide receiver is now, still has a good receiver group, but is much thinner. And we already don't love your bench until this week. DeAndre Swift has a big week. I still have my hesitancies with DeAndre Swift, but he had a big week. I'm still thinking he's boomer bust. I think he's an explosive running back. Hopefully he could continue doing that. Maybe in this new look offense, that's what he does. Kareem Hunt's the guy that I wanted to highlight because he might be the guy in KC. Steele has another fumble. I could see Kareem Hunt being solid. So I think your bench this week went from to very solid, even though you lose Rashee Rice. So a little less top heavy, but more depth. Take it or leave it. A 2-2 team that deserves to be 2-2 again, I'd rank this in the middle of my 2-2 teams if I had to give it ranking. So with that being said, I'm not giving any done chains out, but I will say I think the El Grana Cesario game is the finals preview at this moment. A lot of football to be played. So best of luck everyone next week. Email over if there's any questions or topics you want me to cover. Halfway through the season, we'll do an updated power rankings, but I've got to be honest, my preseason power rankings, pretty on point so far. I wouldn't change that much. So with that, I bid you adieu. I will wish you best of luck, and I will talk to you soon. I am an absolute clown. I look at the trades tab on Sleeper, and I see it empty, but I forget that that's active trades. It's not looking back. So I just realized that there are trades, which I love, and I'm happy about it. I'm ashamed that I didn't get it in the first recap, so I'll make sure it's clear that there's 2 different videos this week. Let's talk about the trades because I love moves. I love seeing moves. And I did get confused when I was recapping a little bit, by the way. So now if I made any mistakes in the last recap, now let's be clear. Wow, the first one was huge. Wandale and Bijan go to El Grenas. McLaurin, Deontay Johnson, and Charbonnet go to Dust in the Wind. Listen. I don't know how this trade was justified in the mind of Dust in the Wind. Bijan, I still think, could go RB1 rest of the season starting this week. I think Bijan is unreal talented, and I think if that offense clicks, the ceiling is insane. I think Charbonnet is a good handcuff, but with Kenneth Walker, he's not worth anything. I think Deontay Johnson is good with Andy Dalton, but I'm still not banking. I know he had a good couple weeks, and this is before the week, so I'm sure I'm not banking on that being insanely valuable. And McLaurin, listen, I have McLaurin. I like McLaurin, but we're talking about an RB1. In a redraft right now, Bijan still goes first round 100%. I would honestly guess Bijan still goes top 6. McLaurin probably goes 4th round, maybe 3rd round. Deontay Johnson 4th round, maybe 5th round. Would you make that trade? I wouldn't make that trade. So I'm gonna have to say El Granados killed on that one. Absolutely killed on that one. Is my opinion. The second trade was, this all makes so much more sense now, by the way, because I was like, I feel like I remember these guys' rosters, but like at least a little bit. And these names are just not like. ETN goes to Crucifier. I said he needed a running back. He got ETN. And he gives up DK Metcalf. He also gave up George Pickens. Yeah, I think Crucifier wins this trade. Metcalf's having a solid week. Actually, he just missed the playoffs. So I don't know the end zone on that one play. So I don't know. Either way, ETN. Again, this is all done before this week. So I know that things have changed this week. But I'm gonna say moving forward, still I still prefer ETN myself. I mean, he's still. It's so hard to say now with the Tank Bigsby thing and ETN being kind of banged up. Did they also play Bigsby a little bit more just because? Or is it because of the injury? But I think the fact that Pickens is also involved in this deal, I would rather be on the Crucifier side. This one's much more even. But this dust in the wind, I like that you're shaking things up. Although I do think you're on the losing end of both trades. I think the second one is more understandable. But again, I mean, you look at what you're doing to your running back group. You know, you give up Bijan to get no running backs. I mean, Charbonnet I'm not counting because he's a backup. And then you give up ETN to get no running backs. So it's just so weird to me. That's such an interesting. Let me just look at this team now. The team that you're left with, not stuck with. Sorry. And again, you get the win, and it's looking good after a week. That's why I'm not obviously like McLaurin gets you 16, Deontay gets you 20. You're obviously feeling good. Metcalf's not having a great week, but. Yeah, your running backs now are Zach Moss and Hubbard. And yeah, I mean, Jonathan Brooks is coming back. Zach Moss is not, Chase got 2 touchdowns, I believe, this week. And, he's not RB1 territory. I don't even consider him necessarily myself RB2 territory moving forward rest of the season. It's very risky, man. It's very risky for Dust in the Wind. I'm going to just take a note for myself that I think Dust in the Wind regrets the trades after the season. I mean, again, short term's different, especially when you have Hubbard without Brooks, but I'm very nervous about this trade. I love that you guys are shaking it up. You earn my respect as a manager, but I'm very nervous. Very, 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 very nervous. But I like the trades, and I'm sorry I missed it. I'll remember on Sleeper, it's different, and I'll remember that. Peace, guys.